But the map says this is the road to the glacier.
This is not a road.
But our truck can handle it.
You're asking us to take our entire house up a river.
We're Andy and Sherry, full-time nomadic travelers pushing our limits to get more out of our midlife years. But we're honestly not sure if this little dream of ours is going to work. Can we really let go of everything we worked for to live together on the road without destroying our marriage? Welcome to our midlife nomadic experiment.
When we tell people that we sold everything and, literally have no possessions and live in this rig full time, a lot of people are like, whoa, I don't know if I could ever do that with my partner.
We face so many more decisions that have to be made on a regular basis that are outside of just living in a small space.
Every single day is a day of new decision, a new environment, a new risk assessment. There's so many challenges because we're constantly on the go. And every new environment, we have new things that put stress on our lives, like these bugs right now. A little crazy. This is all of a sudden
This is
very
ridiculous.
buggy.
I'm sorry that you probably can't see our faces, but we've got to have our head nets.
Okay, we're back.
If you are going to Alaska in the summertime, do not come up here without these. They're a game changer, for sure.
So as we were saying, there's constant challenges that come at us every single day. So it's not just about the living in tight quarters. In fact, it's really a lot about other expectations as well.
One thing that we find on a regular basis was exemplified by our journey to get to our campsite last night. You don't have to choose the deepest parts, do you?
I'm trying to hit the part, just trying to...
What happens, and this happens regularly, I see Andy's face light up like a little boy when we start to do something that is way off road and honestly way out of my comfort zone. The worse the road gets, the more the truck is doing this, the more this ridiculous 6-year-old grin is on his face.
What can I say?
However, I'm thinking about our possessions. I'm thinking about the suspension on our truck because it's our full-time house. I'm thinking about a lot of other things. And the more his face goes into huge grin mode, the more I'm clutching the handrest next to me in the truck. We have this happiness meter, and it regularly goes in opposite directions when we are in off-road settings.
In an attempt to be as authentic as possible, we turned the camera on during a recent tense disagreement as we were looking for a wild camping location to spend the night near a remote Alaskan glacier. We've been married for over 30 years and we're still learning about our differences. This is vulnerable for both of us to share because it's really as real as it gets.
I'm getting to the point where I'm getting uncomfortable, and I
respect that.
I kind of feel like it's just only getting deeper at this point, and we can't really see where it has channeled away.
I still feel well within a comfort zone in that I can actually see the rocks in the water. It's pretty clear water, and it's not so deep that it's just a disappearing channel. And that we're where it's actually a road bed, so it's gravel, not mud. That's my thought there.
Just a moment ago, though, you were like, okay, it might get deep here. And then I felt like we were really, really off kilter when
because I was shifting up to a berm that was, to go.
Which you might have to do.
Right, but not so deep that was going to tip us or anything like that. I don't feel like we're losing traction, and that was even just in 2-wheel drive, so I just put it in 4-wheel drive right now.
Okay.
I haven't explored any of it in 4-wheel drive.
Why are we going further and further and further upstream? Are we going to find better dry ground for camping?
Possibly, because there, at some point there's a trailhead, and at some point it might be above where the water has cut into this. Now, it might be impassable, and we'll just turn around and come back. And we have 2 spots here that are pretty cool. My offering compromise is a little further, but with awareness that, situational awareness and making sure that we're not getting anything more complex at this point. Is that reasonable?
Do I have to ride along?
No. Sorry. If you want a veto, you go. I'll give you a veto power, but
I just don't see the point.
Well, I am really curious about what it would take to get to, a walking trail up to the glacier. There's an actual trailhead up here,
Right.
and it's, foot accessible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going then.
If you don't mind, but just I respect your opinion, so I want to make sure that we are not pushing it beyond. But if you're at a warning zone, as far as
I'm at a warning zone.
Okay, that's right. Okay. That's
I'm on yellow,
yellow alert.
heading toward orange.
Okay. That helps me know. Okay, so we're gonna try a little more and see what happens. I'll just take it slowly. I am in 4-wheel drive now, so
Appreciate that.
yeah. All right. So now this is so.
See, this is just a really tippy riverbed to me. This is solid, is what you were saying?
I meant solid water,
Yep,
but
it is. Like, I don't think the trail is going to be in use right now with this much water coming down.
is the concern getting flooded? Is the concern getting stuck?
Tippy.
Getting tippy?
Yes.
I don't feel like the water has cut the ground to the point where we would have. It was a road.
I understand, but it's
so-
washed out completely.
Feels pretty stable to me, but I can understand your concern.
You want to continue driving just straight up this stream that,
Sure.
like, we're on the last of the dirt here. After that, it's just, we're driving just in the river now.
To me, this is like a very minimally calculated risk because it's
Minimally calculated,
yeah,
that's the problem.
meaning. Oh, sorry, I said that. Calculated.
That means you're not calculating the risk.
No, what I meant by that was it's a calculated minimum risk. We're literally on a road at this point. Is my
I
point.
understand,
Yeah.
it once was a road.
Once was a road, yeah.
Lots of things once were roads and
Yeah.
are now impassable.
Right. But we have really high clearance. We have big, good foot stance with our tires. We're in 4-wheel drive.
Okay.
I would like to.
I'm orange.
You're orange now, okay. Yeah. If I get up to that, just beyond this section, I see some dirt terrain up there.
Okay.
We get up there, and that felt way too sketchy, or we lost control or anything. At that point, I'll turn back and come back down.
Okay.
Is that fair enough? So far, feels great. Now this is I'm gonna stop and just assess this real
Okay.
fast before we go in.
Yeah, I can see the bottom.
Yep. Okay. See the bottom. So this is where the river was cutting into the road.
Yep.
Now actually the road regains a little bit of its control, I think. This still here. I will stop at this big runoff up here too.
Okay. Green.
How do you feel there? Any different than what we have already?
There's a deep spot in the
Okay.
middle of it. There's
Yeah.
a big channel right there.
That literally won't even get to our
I know,
homes.
it's
Yep.
the tippiness that I get
Okay.
concerned
Yeah.
about, not the ground clearance.
Got it. Just making sure.
So look, there's a fire pit.
Here's the fire pit. Okay, if you want to call this good, I'm happy to call this our
I feel like the road is gone
yeah.
at this
Well,
point.
it's over there. I
Right.
saw it there, but it's worth going to explore by foot at this point, maybe. But I could call this home for now.
Fire pit.
Fire pit. We have firewood.
We have firewood.
Yeah. Honey, look at we got a lovely home. We got a lovely home. Thanks for trusting me on this. And thanks for expressing your concerns about it.
Had I gotten to red, I would have started to blink.
Blink, blink.
Fast blink.
You did good.
I did good.
Okay. For me, one of the greatest opportunities that we have is to get to places that are really unique, places that have gorgeous views, and places that we can look back on and just feel accomplished that we got there. And this is one of those. We weren't even planning on being here. Most every day, we don't even know where we're going to stay for the night until we find something unique. And so sometimes these challenges come in all of a sudden at the very last moment too.
It would honestly be easier for us to both gloss over moments like these, But we want to share with you just how we're learning to work as true partners as we support each other's growth, even when we radically disagree.
Expectations can be a challenging thing. When we first started off, that was a big conflict point for us.
It
Wouldn't you
was.
say?
It was a big conflict point for us. And honestly, I feel like I've grown a lot. I'm
You have.
probably not to the point you wish I was at, because I still have this thing about, like personal safety and the sanctity of our home. So I know that for you, I tend to take away your fun sometimes. I know that you want to do more. You want to push Walter to his extreme capabilities. Walter's our truck. I want to enjoy a little bit of off-road without a lot of off-road. Not to the point where I feel terrified.
Terrified, right. I did have a little off-road experience. I wouldn't call myself, an avid off-roader, but growing up, that was something that I was comfortable with, taking, a vehicle out back with friends and exploring. And I did have a little bit more confidence in this. And so when we have this moment, I feel like we haven't even begun to push the limits. And for Sherry, that actually means there's some growth for her, but I'm trying to figure out how to grow myself as well so that we are partners in this, because I think the goal is for us to survive this long term, not just to conquer a specific trail or a specific path.
Right, and that's unfortunately part of my mentality is I am looking at the long term, and so I'm looking at the health of the vehicle, I'm looking at the health of our stuff that's getting bounced around in the vehicle, and I'm looking at my own personal stress levels. I had zero experience off-roading growing up, none. And we were not a family that had motorcycles or quads or anything like that. So it's all new to me, and it's not comfortable, but I am trying to grow in it. Like in my world that I came from, you don't drive in a stream.
I'm looking at a road like this going, this was an established road. It's got a trailhead to the very end. The river has shifted and is overflowing and rolling down the road. But from my perspective, it wasn't, deeply washed out. I could see the gravel, and the fact that it was truly a gravel bed to begin with, that the risk assessment was low, and we have a capable vehicle. So as you can probably see, there's two, like, she's right and he's right, kind of.
You can't both be right.
But somehow we have to both be right. And so I think the key takeaway, at least for me, is learning how to value each other's points of view and learning how to find that point of compromise that doesn't just completely give up on a particular goal or adventure, but listens carefully without dismissing the caution. Because honestly, my ambition will probably get us in trouble at some point. We will probably get stuck at some point. That's part of the adventure, but we also don't need to take absolute big risks for just risk's sake. As I'm learning how to validate and articulate words of support, is that helping? Is that causing more, does it feel patronizing, I guess?
I think we're both growing in this. I think you are realizing more of my discomfort level, and you are recognizing my growth and noting that and grateful for that, which really helps for me. Yesterday, we went back to a code system that we haven't used in a while. I let you know I'm at yellow. And on a scale of green, yeah, let's go for it, to red, absolutely not. I will be signing papers to end this partnership if we go any further. After some rest, I realized it wasn't that bad. There is a trailhead up there. I want to go see the trailhead. And so yes, I want to dive back into that stream and just keep going.
Like in the future, we'll be able to say, this trail will be no different than that trail in Alaska. We had that in the past and some of our other experiences, so we can have comparisons to something we know. And that's really what experience is about, right? Like now, something in a similar environment like this might not be quite as challenging for you, and you might stay in the green or very light yellow mode for much longer, right? And you'll be able to grow in your capacity in that, and I'm growing in my ability to communicate and to not take undue risks.
You're getting better at taking what's going through your head and translating it into things that I can hear and I can process. If I only just have things happen to me, I don't have a steering wheel, I don't have a gas and a brake. It's a very vulnerable position to be in. But when you say, just so you know, I've analyzed this, I've assessed this, here's what I'm thinking, I'm gonna go that direction and go down that path, that's really helpful to me.
Good.
And
That's
you're
good to
getting
know.
better and better at that.
That's good to hear. So there you have it. That's just one little aspect, just an honest, transparent part of a conversation about how it affects a marriage partnership, especially when our expectations are kind of at a mismatch in an environment like we are here. We have to figure out how this lifestyle works for us. And we hope this glimpse of it is really helpful for anyone who might be considering it and realizing that there is potential for some amazing things that can come from it.
To the people like Andy who are more gung-ho for the adventure, be patient with us. Just be patient with us, because there is room for growth. And for the people like me who are a little more risk averse and don't light up with that little kid goofy grin every time the road gets terrible and shouldn't even be called a road anymore. For those of us like that, remember there's room for growth. Remember you do something and you add it to your toolkit. And you do something else and you then say, okay, I understand that one now, and I add it to my toolkit. And then you do something a next level up. When I turned 50, I adopted this phrase, I am comfortable being uncomfortable. And at first it was super easy because my comfort level was a whole lot higher than most people I knew that were my age. And so I didn't get uncomfortable where they did. So it was easy for me to say I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. And then we started this lifestyle where we get into situations where I truly am uncomfortable. And then it's a little bit more difficult, and I have to remind myself, and sometimes you remind me, I am uncomfortable right now, and that isn't the end of the world. Just because I'm uncomfortable doesn't mean I have to quit. I can keep going.
Because when we're uncomfortable, I think we grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are never going to get old because we are growing and learning every frickin' day.
Thank you for spending a little time with us. We hope this was insightful. We'll see you next video.